The start of the Chunin exams is simple and straightforward, all starting with something relatively easy. You would think that it would be more complicated, but it was as simple as just finding the true room that they must go to. Naruto's group, or Team 7, would easily find that area, but Naruto would get a little bit of a, you could call it a rude, but at the same time, gentleman's awakening when Mr. Rock Lee himself approaches him wanting a bit of a fight. Rock Lee has heard about both Sasuke Uchiha and Naruto, but he makes it apparent that he wants to challenge Naruto himself to a duel, or at least a bit of a taijutsu match, and that's exactly what occurs. Let's just say that taijutsu match doesn't go particularly well for Rock Lee. He's about to bust out one of his techniques, but immediately he'd be stopped by the one and only Might Guy himself. Might Guy would immediately punish Rock Lee for doing what he just did by punching him square in the face. And Naruto would be in complete shock at what he just saw. What did he just see? Child abuse? He's not sure, but frankly, it's definitely something to think about. With that said, there's some formalities, and Might Guy obviously makes his claim over the fact that he's stronger than Kakashi, but they're skeptical about that idea. Of course, Naruto can see many weaknesses in Rock Lee's fight style. He was able to dominate the fight relatively easily, and eventually would lead to him just heading off with his team. This then leads them to the actual exam. Luckily, Naruto isn't too brain dead in this, reality, and frankly, he wouldn't even have to cheat. He's actually extremely intelligent, but frankly, who's gonna stop him from cheating as well? He has enhanced senses, he can kind of look around, hear things at a crazy rate, and it would be so easy for him to get everything right. And of course, they would basically pass through this written exam, and after they're done, they'd be introduced to the next part of that said exam, a part that would get far more serious, a part that actually involved you surviving in a giant forest. But not only that, Naruto would be in conflict with somebody that he would have no idea would play a bigger role in everything to come. Yo, what is good, everybody? It's your boy Golden Falls Golden What If, whatever you want to call me, and I'm back with part 2 of What If Naruto Was A Kryptonian. And make sure to check the links in the description, all that good stuff. Make sure to hit the like, hit the sub, hit the comment, all that good stuff. And I hope all y'all enjoy, and we're not going to waste much more of your time, and let's just get right back into the what if. Let's get it. The Forest of Death. This couldn't have been taken any more literally than what they're sitting and watching right now. Obviously, Naruto, Hinata, and Sasuke would approach the Forest of Death with caution, but with the Byakugan, or basically with Hinata there, it would be relatively easy to scout around. And frankly, it wouldn't take much longer after some scouting to get their opposite scroll. Naruto, Sasuke, and Hinata were finally finished with this whole little exam. All they had to do was make it to the very end, or make it to this area that would secure their win. They begin to head off, but Naruto begins to get an eerie feeling, telling them all to hide. Sasuke begins to think that this is dumb. Why would they hide anyways? But just as he says this, he can feel this intense aura pass over them, and someone appears directly in front of them. Naruto kicks one of them out of the way, but one of them is ominous, different. Naruto looks at one of them in complete death stare, as if he knows something they don't. They question who they think that is, and all they say is he's some grass ninja, or she's some grass ninja, but that's not the case. Naruto can feel it, but immediately they'd be separated, and Naruto would be forced to defeat some monster on his own, doing it relatively easily, but leaving the other two to fend for themselves. Eventually, they're able to regroup, and Naruto gets there just in time as he sees this giant snake barreling towards Sasuke. He steps in front of the snake, and it halts in its place. Naruto, in a fit of rage, turns around and activates his laser beams out of his eyes, obliterating the snake in half and mowing down part of the forest. The grass ninja supposedly sees this and immediately leaves, bailing out of the situation, but Naruto grabs slightly injured Sasuke and Hinata and just flies off with them to the main area they have to go. During this situation though, someone is currently watching in complete awe, seeing what Naruto just did, even making this odd person disappear and leave as quick as possible. This is Kabuto. He's watching as Naruto's flying away to their destination, and he just watched as he held off, one of the former legendary Sannin. He's completely in shock at the power that Naruto just revealed, and Naruto questions exactly who the hell that was. He can feel itself, the death beyond the gaze, the power that this person truly had. This was no person that was some regular shinobi. This was no person that was trying to be a chunin. This is different. Nonetheless, Naruto would get them back, and eventually Hinata and Sasuke would arrive there, and luckily they're good. They're perfect, actually, and they would be denounced as one of the survivors of the forest of death. They would have to wait a while, but eventually everybody else would fill in, cutting everybody basically in half. But at the end of the day, they would be forced to go on to the next phase. Well, it's preliminaries that would basically force different matchups. The only problem is, for one, Hinata being injured from the attack of who we know as Orochimaru, and also Sasuke having the curse mark. They will have a bit of struggle. Hinata would end up losing the same way to Neji, but luckily Sasuke is able to basically win out against some nobody, and eventually leading to Naruto's clash with Kiba. But let's be honest, this quote-unquote clash would be absolutely starch. It wouldn't be anything. Naruto is far stronger than what he would be in canon, and far stronger than probably most people here. He was able to withstand a giant snake attack and obliterate this summoning from Orochimaru himself, and even forced him to leave. He didn't even get a chance to impair Naruto with the 5 Elements seal, which is definitely something that to not bat your eye at. Naruto is extremely powerful, and soon he'll realize that his power could be used in a way more beneficial way. After everything goes through and the last fight was revealed, it's Rock Lee versus Gara. And this is the first time everybody gets to see how threatening Gara truly is, how terrifying, and how he's basically a monster. After all of this would ensue, and after all this would occur, finally all the preliminaries would be over with a crippled Rock Lee. A Rock Lee that was beaten, battered, and destroyed. But a little bit less worse for wear than usual. You may be wondering why, but the reason why is he pushes himself even harder, knowing that someone like Naruto exists. Someone that he didn't just walk over like nothing. Naruto was dominating that fight. He wanted the rematch, but unfortunately he wouldn't be getting that, being in the defeat of Gara, and obviously Might Guy saving him from death. Luckily though, Rock Lee isn't as hurt as he would be in canon. Now there's a gap in time. 1 month before the next part of the Chunin exams would continue on, Naruto himself decides that he needs to get some training. He initially goes to Kakashi, but that would be immediately neglected and rejected because, frankly, well, he can't do it because he already committed to helping Sasuke. Kakashi offers to send someone else to train Naruto, but he decides against it. Naruto leaves and begins to basically train from place to place. He begins to kind of scour a bit in terms of the village and also in terms of the surrounding areas. Eventually, after a couple days of training, he would realize something. He would realize the power he begins to feel the more he flies around toward the atmosphere. He realizes that somehow when he gets closer and closer to space, he feels stronger, more powerful. He doesn't know why, and frankly, maybe he'll never know, but he begins to fly out more and more until out of nowhere he hears something. A mild scream from a woman, so he comes dashing back down, flying at insane speeds. But when he arrives, he just sees some old Gramps-like guy with white hair fucking spying on some women. I mean, you know, the same old in terms of Jiraiya. Naruto would confront him about this and basically tell him that he probably shouldn't be doing that, but Jiraiya thinks otherwise. Jiraiya says that he's doing his research. But just as Jiraiya says this, he turns and realizes who this is. Naruto Uzumaki, the one that fell from the sky. Oh, touche, huh, Naruto? Immediately, Jiraiya doesn't even is basically shocking Naruto to his bones. I mean, he doesn't know this guy. Who the heck is he? And Jiraiya explains that, well, he knew him when he was a little boy. Of course, Jiraiya has been out and about, you know, doing legendary Sannin things, but he seems to be interested in Naruto, thinking that maybe Naruto should get some training from the old man himself. And of course, Jiraiya would definitely help Naruto out in this regard. Naruto just wants to learn more. He wants to learn more techniques, learn more things, learn more about his life. He knows so little. Of course, Jiraiya doesn't have all those answers, but at the same time does help him out the best he possibly can. But Jiraiya brings up to him that his power is different. His strength is different. He's not like every other shinobi. Some use the shadows, some use techniques to get the upper hand. Naruto is superhuman. The kid is an alien from some unknown planet that obviously was some sort of super race. Jiraiya makes this extremely apparent and says this is why he has so much success in terms of training, in terms of getting stronger. Jiraiya believes that Naruto can make a far bigger difference than he is now. And maybe that won't be in terms of being at this village. Maybe it would be somewhere else. But nonetheless, Naruto can get stronger and stronger, more than what anybody can possibly even realize. And Jiraiya makes this apparent as they begin their training for the next month. I'll be honest, the training goes relatively similar. It's just a chakra control training and also just learning technique after technique, anything that they can possibly learn. And Naruto even makes his little arrangement with his summonings. But at the same time, Jiraiya makes it pretty clear that he shouldn't need them. Frankly, Naruto himself doesn't need any of these techniques. He needs to figure out where he came from. That's what matters. Once he does that, he'll be complete. But he needs to realize, with really crazy amounts of power, he can do whatever he wants. And it comes down to him what he does with that power. That there could be lines that he may or may not have to cross. So, after that month of training, and a lot of knowledge bestowed within Naruto from Jiraiya, Naruto is ready for the next portion of the Chunin exams. The next portion that would eventually stack him up in the finals and would stack him up against Neji. Of course, Naruto would learn about Kurama, and frankly he knew about the demon fox in his body already, but he learned more about using the power of Kurama. But at the same time, this power was so minuscule compared to what he had. His power was seemingly nothing, but he could ramp his own power by using it, and there was no drawback in that regard. This fight against Neji would definitely be a bit of a grudge match. Hinata would be cheering him on, but at the same time, kind of be worried for Neji. Neji wouldn't stand a chance. chakra blocking this, chakra blocking that. Naruto didn't care. Pure strength alone, Naruto immediately flies at Neji's face, slamming his head into the ground, standing over him, telling him that there is no beating him in this scenario. He's figured some things out. Figured out far more than, well, any of them could possibly imagine. Naruto begins basically piecing up Neji as if it were nothing. This isn't even a contest. This is no final exam. Naruto has outmatched Neji by a mile. It's not even close, and basically the winner is Naruto, practically in a flawless fashion. Everybody is shocked. Everybody is in complete awe. And let's just say some plans have definitely been thought about. Orochimaru may be watching from the shadows, or maybe even from right in front of your faces. But Orochimaru may believe that someone else might be better for their body to be taken. But at the same time, he knows his limitations. It's as if he was trying to go off after Itachi's body. He tried to take his eyes. That didn't go so well. Maybe that would be too much to bite off and too much to chew. First off, at least for now, let's focus on Sasuke Uchiha. And that's exactly what Orochimaru would do, awaiting the fight between Gara and Sasuke, and the fight would go exactly the same, more or less. You could argue Sasuke was slightly stronger because Naruto being there, but at the same time falling behind Naruto without knowing why Naruto would be so strong must be a frustrating thing. Could lead to him trying even harder, becoming stronger, but at the same time, the leap and the bound that he would have to go over to defeat Gara may be a little too much. But just as Naruto is watching, he feels that presence once again. But the presence he's feeling isn't from Orochimaru, it's from Gara. Gara seemingly is starting to change, starting to enter a tailed beast transformation, and obviously Naruto is in complete shock while watching this. Naruto believes that this could be extremely bad. He doesn't know if he's supposed to step in or not, but just as it's occurring, everybody behind him begins to get knocked out one by one by one. Naruto being basically immune to this knockout gas, like there is no knocking him out. He's fine. He pile drives one of the ninjas that come after him, and he looks towards Sasuke and he flies down there, seeing if he's feeling okay, if he's alright and he's still up for a fight. Sasuke of course says yes, and the fight with Gara would commence deeper into the forests of Konoha. Naruto would be right on the trail of Sasuke until they finally find Gara. Sasuke believes and wants to fight Gara on his own, but Naruto believes that is foolish, that it's not proper to fight on his own when he doesn't have to. Sasuke still says that this is his fight. It was his fight from the beginning, so that's exactly what it's going to be. Naruto takes on Gara one-on-one, but would eventually be put on the back foot because of the curse mark on his neck. The curse mark that basically Naruto didn't know much about. Nonetheless though, Sasuke would be basically down for the count, forcing Naruto to step in. He'd look at Gara and shake his head, saying that this doesn't have to be the way it is. It never would. But Gara is too far gone. Nothing can even speak with him. Nothing can even be heard. But just as Gara thinks that he can somehow keep up with Naruto, Naruto punches him so hard he goes slamming into the ground, and the sand over his body begins to melt away. Naruto stands over Gara and picks him up and basically lodges him into a tree to make him stuck there. Just as Gara is waking up, Naruto realizes that Gara is basically out of commission. There's no way he can actually recount any chakra he just lost, and Naruto sits there looking at him, saying that none of this had to be this way. He has nothing against Gara, and frankly, Sasuke has nothing against him either. Why would he make this choice? Why would he go this way? There could have been people to care about him, but this is what he chose. Of course, with his signature talk no jutsu, I mean, Naruto is really about that, But nonetheless, Gara would be kind of put off by this and maybe think about it in the long run, but for now, Gara would be picked up by his so-called friends and they would get pulled away. Tamari would question if Naruto is going to chase them, but Naruto shakes his head, saying that they could be as far as they want and he'd find them. But that doesn't really matter to him. He doesn't care. He realized something, especially in this encounter. He looks back at Sasuke and goes to help him up, but Sasuke basically moves his arm and tells him that he doesn't need help. Struggling to his feet, Hinata just arrives, seeing if they're okay. Luckily, obviously they are, especially with Naruto there. Naruto would then set off to see what else is occurring, to see this giant looking cube. It seems like the third Hokage and Orochimaru are having their final showdown within that cube. Naruto thinks and tries to figure out any way of getting in, and he wants to just dive straight through, but he doesn't know, that might kill him. He's not sure, but he immediately shoots beams at it, and whatever it is, Naruto not sure exactly how to put it, he begins to crack. Just as Naruto believes he's about to get in, a bunch of summons, 3 of them in fact, these giant snakes begin to attack Naruto. Naruto grabs all 3 of them, slinging them into the sky, mowing them down as if it were nothing. Naruto looks toward the cube as it's beginning to shatter, but just as it shatters, he sees the third Hokage on the ground, but with Orochimaru and his arms being practically disabled. His arms are almost gone. Naruto takes this chance and goes flying at Orochimaru, pile driving his head into the ground. But the other people there, the people loyal to Orochimaru, even are ready to sacrifice themselves to help him. And let's just say, Naruto easily would take out anybody else that would stand in his way, but unluckily enough, there was enough time for Orochimaru to get away. Yes, he may have gone and captured some of these other Orochimaru basically servants, but at the same time, this is not who he wanted. He realizes something, that there are bigger fish to fry. Yeah, these people are not good people, don't get me wrong, but Naruto realizes that his power can be built up to stop these stronger people before anything could happen. Naruto realizes it, that he shouldn't be here, that he himself, there's a reason why he wasn't supposed to be in this village. There's a reason why he was sent here on Earth, not just Konoha. Naruto would begin to fly off, but some people that know him, obviously Team 7, would question where he's flying, and Naruto would just dart off without saying another word. Arriving with Jiraiya, he'd question Jiraiya, asking if this is what he meant, that he can feel this power, that he knows how strong he is, he can fight, he can destroy. If he wanted to, if he went evil, like all of them wanted him to practically, that they wanted to drive him so crazy, thinking that he's some sort of monster, he could have obliterated everybody. Is that true? He looks at Jiraiya, and Jiraiya shakes his head and nods, saying that of course it is true. But like he said, it's all up to what he's going to do with that power. Will he decide to just, obliterate his friends, kill them all, or will he use that power to maybe destroy a giant, a far, far more enormous fish in this world? Jiraiya begins to speak about something and about some group that he knows, the Akatsuki. The Akatsuki are extremely dangerous people. Orochimaru is dangerous himself, but let's just say there are people there that are stronger than him. Naruto, hearing this, nods and says that if he or if Jiraiya wants to defeat them, he's all in. Jiraiya looks at Naruto and smiles, saying that he, or referencing himself or Jiraiya, he begins to say that Naruto will be the one. Naruto is going to be the one stronger, faster, smarter, and more dangerous than any Akatsuki member together, alone, or entire villages alike. Naruto could truly bring peace to the world As he says this, he shows his book. Just like I wrote in this book, you truly can bring peace. And it's funny, because technically, this isn't even your world. And that is a wrap for What If Naruto Was A Kryptonian Part 2. If you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like, a sub, and a comment down below, all that good stuff. I believe the next part will probably be the final part. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, for those who thought Naruto was gonna be OP, he was gonna be OP. I mean, I'm just kind of getting my feet wet in terms of Naruto What Ifs to see how I'm feeling them. But hey, nonetheless, I hope y'all enjoyed. And I hope all of y'all have an amazing day. Later.
Always what's left.